Welcome to another garden tour. It is June the 6th. Last week's video didn't upload. I'm gonna see if I can get it to go up. This is the kale, so it's just about done flowering and it's starting to put on these seed pods. So each one of these will have quite a few seeds in it. And excuse my nails, they're full of sap. So I've got, these are all just kind of hanging out, not doing too much. Bits of new growth on the blackberries. Blueberries are still recovering from a tough year. I pulled a bunch of grass and just laid it across to try and help limit how much moisture comes out. This blackberry is doing a bunch. The gooseberries are not actually fruiting this year, unfortunately. It looks like the frost was enough to get them. All my little rhubarbs here are doing well. Haven't seen any monarch eggs on the milkweeds yet. And again, this is the kiwi and it's just thriving. So again, I tucked this vine in the day before yesterday, and it's put on that much more growth. So no fruit this year, but hopefully both it and the male plant over here put on enough growth this year that they want to grow. And here we go. We've got some lettuces, lots of peas and beans coming. These are carrots that'll have to get thinned out. And there are 3 different varieties of carrots spread throughout there. Look at the tomatoes growing. They're getting so much bigger. And actually, they're starting to sucker. So here, you see this one's growing off from in between. So these ones come out, and if they're a bit bigger than this, if you don't have enough tomato plants, so you're not able to get them, you can actually just put them in water and a lot of them will root. So I'm gonna have to go around and get rid of a lot of these little suckers. Here are the strawberries putting on a lot more growth. So the hope is that these will kind of fill out a lot of this area, and we'll see how the asparagus does. It's putting up a much thicker shoot. So these are the shoots that, this was the first one here. This was the second one. It was a little bit thicker. And here's the newest one, much thicker. It's gonna stand up much better. And actually, I've got a blossom on this. So these were started from seed just a few months ago. So that's really encouraging to see. I'm going to scoot along. I've kept these these posts here were to keep a tarp over top to try and protect it from the frost. And I probably don't need that anymore. We're heading into another heat wave and it looks like it's gonna stay hot. But again, lots of tomato growth going on here. And if I scoot down this alleyway, again, lots more strawberries. I've got some onions along here. This kiwi vine, the leaves are, well, I think you would have seen my size of my hand before compared to it. And these ones are just massive. So I'm curious what the difference is there and what it's going to do. I've got some onions in here. Those are, I think, a multiplier onion. Not sure what they are. It was just seed that was easy to get. And then there's another type of onion. Don't remember what it is. I'm not really too fussed about it. Some of the marigolds are starting to flower, and so are some of the tomatoes. I've got planted in between. I've got a bunch of different things planted in between all of these to try and use up this space so that way nature doesn't fill it with weeds. So lots going on in there, some root crops, some leafy greens, some herbs. Just a good mixture in there. And obviously, I have a bunch that I didn't even get planted. These ones are huge. A bunch of herbs I haven't gotten in yet. These ones I'm not too worried that I haven't gotten in yet. This is all lavender. And really, from what I understand, these ones shouldn't get planted this year. So I have them out here just so that way they're just getting, you know, all the water and the sunshine and everything that everything else gets. More strawberries. So these ones will get planted. And a couple spare trees. As we come over here, the rhubarb are getting bigger. This grapevine is starting to put on a good amount of growth, which is encouraging to see. That was my first time growing from cuttings. This is a pear tree, and it's got, you know, it's put on a good amount of growth as well. That again was started from seed this year. Some chives from seed. That's a goji berry. Most of them aren't going to do well. I don't expect them to, and that's just because there's too much nitrogen in this soil for them. They like soil that's low in nitrogen. There's another one that's doing a bit better. It's actually planted in soil beneath this. There's an apple tree. Again, some of this rhubarb. This is first year from seed. So I'm really impressed with how that's doing. Another goji berry. This one looks like it's hanging in there. And I did miss, where is, there should be, oh, there it is. This one is a sea berry. So it's still little, but it's at least doubled in height since I planted it out. Some of my Egyptian walking onions. I shoved a pear tree back there. There's another one here. These are the Egyptian walking onions starting to form the heads. So these will produce a bunch of small bulbets, just little onions up here, which are the seed that can be planted down. They can also be eaten from what I understand. But right now I'm just going to be planting out more and more of them so that way I can just have a lot more of them around. I've got another grapevine there. There's some Virginia creeper coming in. Here is the Three Sisters, except it's actually two sisters because I never was able to, I didn't remember to pick up any of the squash seeds from my parents, so I had 0 squash. And my spaghetti squash seeds that I saved from last year disappeared. So not sure what happened to them. So these are my little corn plants, and these are the peas. Again, a little bit more of that there. And in here was just a scattering of a whole bunch of different seeds. And to see what happens, there's some leafy greens, some root vegetables, some herbs. Just gonna see what thrives together in there. Again, this is one of my honey locusts. That one is a pear tree, because I've got another sea berry there and I followed a pattern. Bunch of asparagus growing in through here. These ones, see how they look like they're doing much better than the ones that are getting the harsh sun all day, which are those ones over there that I mentioned earlier. These ones were also started much later, so I'm not concerned that they haven't put on the thicker stalks yet. We've got melons and such all in here. I'm gonna have to be careful. I had a lot higher germination than I was expecting from old seeds. So I probably have to thin that out. This side has a bunch more peas in there. I've got a variety of melons and peas and such growing in here. And then the raspberries. So obviously nowhere near ready to eat, but it's just covered in them. And the next plant beside it that I propagated from, also absolutely covered all the way back. That is going to be a very nice treat. Here's more that I just haven't gotten around to planting. I haven't actually taken a full day off in quite a few weeks. So that's what I'm trying to do today. Again, this is the other side of that raspberry bush, just covered in them. Actually, this might be black raspberries. More of, you know, the rhubarbs and I stuck some peas in the front. There's a sea berry. Everything is just small. We're all just growing in. I've got the lilac's big, but it was planted from a potted plant last year. Yeah. So that's what's going on. All of these most of them got dug up, but I do have a couple that are coming up here, and I believe those first ones are the personal melons, size melons. But over here I have some beans. And then, can't remember. I'll have to look back at the old video. That's why I do them. So that's what's going on there. I have not been doing much out here. It's just been so busy. But I am going to take you inside real quick. This is where I had an experimental garden. I built this all up last year, and I just planted a bunch of stuff, and some of it's going to seed now. I have not gotten these planted. I traded some tomato plants for all these herbs, so I've just been watering them, and they're looking a little tired, so I need to water them again. But it's just a variety of herbs here. Ignore my basement hatch and my compost tea stuff. But if we come in here, we've got a happy dog. And these are my pawpaw trees for the most part. This is a pawpaw. I have one tomato plant that's actually for neighbor kid. And these are my cucamelons that survived the great tumble when the cat popped them over. So these ones I need to get hardened off and get them outside. I would have liked to have had them out long before now, but they're still so small. And this one is a beautiful fig tree that someone from church offered me, and then I offered them a few pear trees in exchange because I had far more than I could plant. So this one's going to be inside. I left it outside the first day and didn't realize that it wasn't hardened off. So it got a little bit of sunburn, but it's putting on new growth already. So that is the garden tour. And today I'm going to try and take a break. I'm reorganizing the house and watching kayaking videos. So I've pulled a lot of my stuff out of the cupboards so I can organize. I'm going to be putting new countertops on because that's an old piece that doesn't fit. This is unfinished wood, and those are drywall countertops. And as you can see, the walls aren't finished yet. These are just renovations that haven't been done. I don't even have a door over there right now. So hopefully soon I'll be uploading videos of the new countertop and such, but I have to get the new sink and such before then. Lots to do, lots of renovations to go in here. These are all going to come down because this is where I'm going to be filming the finance classes. And I'm going to get this one out soon. But that was the purpose of this was a garden tour. So I'm going to end now because the tour is done.